So welcome back to this closing of the third week of our being here together, and we will just keep going next week. Only as I'm guessing Soren said, we'll be back on the platform where we can see each other with greater ease. Is that right, Soren? Yeah. So let's take a few moments to just settle into things exactly as they are for you now, wherever you are in the world. And I'd like to invite you to actually bring your awareness into your body. And we'll do a relatively brief, by my standards, body scan. The first foundation of mindfulness in the classical tradition is the body. And we've been emphasizing over the course of these 3 weeks how important it is to tune back into the body, because all of our emotional reactivity and all of our thoughts are really in response to feelings in the body, to sensations in the body that actually make us contract, or when we're fearful, or in one way or another release certain kinds of thoughts and emotions that can imprison us. And as we've been using the metaphor, have us in some sense lose our minds when just at the moment where we most need to collect and ground ourselves and stabilize things. So just tuning into the whole body, sitting here, breathing. And if you want to do this lying down or stretched out in a certain way on bed or on a couch or wherever you're sitting, you're welcome to do that. I'm going to stay sitting. Um, but as you know, usually we do the body scans lying down in what's called the Shavasana in the yoga tradition. And it's all about waking up in the present moment. So although it's called the corpse pose in yoga, it's not about dying so much as it is about liberating ourselves from the past and from the future, and thus truly connecting as if for the first time. And for this moment, of course, it always is the first time with the present moment. And the body is the premier place to connect because the body is only in the present moment. Just like the trees and the, uh, all the plant life outside is only here in this moment of now. So let's feel the whole body, whether it's day or night in your time zone, and just get a sense of the whole body sitting here or lying here, including the envelope of the skin. And including the breath as it comes into the body and out from the body. And dropping into awareness. And now let's see if we can tune our attention or direct our attention to our feet and feature them center stage in the field of awareness for the moment. So we did this maybe a week or so ago, not as part of an extended body scan, but to just see if we could put our mind in our feet when we wake up in the morning or in our hands. So for now, just tuning into the feet, and we'll do both feet together and seeing if you can actually, without wiggling them, feel your big toes and all of your toes, whatever sensations might be present. And if you can't feel anything, then simply be aware of not feeling anything or dullness or numbness, or and it's all okay because it's not about the toes, it's about awareness. And then see if you can let that awareness spill out from your toes until it includes the whole of the soles of your feet, the bottoms of your feet, and the heels. And just feeling whatever sensations are here to be felt, or no sensations, or dullness, or it's all okay. We have to welcome that out for whatever experience brings to us. And we're not hunting or searching for anything. We're just letting the sensations come to us and register in our own awareness. And now just allow the awareness to holding the ankles, both feet. As I do it, I can feel a whole universe of different sensations, vibrations, including, of course, the fact that my feet are in contact with the floor. So that's part of it. And then let's just continue to breathe with the feet. Breathing into the feet, breathing out from the feet, through your nose, if at all possible, with your mouth closed. And just letting the breath do itself, so you're not forcing or pushing or pulling or deep breathing or anything like that, but just you're breathing with the sensations of both of your feet and ankles in awareness. And when you're ready, then let's intentionally take a slower, deeper breath in and breathe it down into the feet, as if you could just direct the breath right into your feet. And then on the out breath, just letting go of your feet in your mind's eye. Just let them be as they are, as we redirect or move our attention into the lower legs. Excuse me. And just feeling whatever's here to be felt in the lower legs. And breathing with whatever's here to be felt. Including dullness, numbness, a difference between the two legs. Doesn't matter. We're just holding it in awareness as it is without judging any of it. But being really intimate with the sensations. After all, it's your body. These regions of the body that we will be visiting are all important. And when you're ready on an out breath, why don't you just invite this region of your body to dissolve as well in your mind's eye, to just be as it is, as we move into the region of the knees. And just feeling whatever's here to be felt in these amazing joints. And of course, there are thousands of us together doing this. So everybody's body's different. You may have had multiple surgeries. You may have implants of knees or hips, and you may have had all sorts of losses of one kind or another in the body. And this practice is one that just invites us to hold the whole of it in awareness with tremendous appreciation for the body that we have, the body that is as it is right now. And to whatever degree possible, making friends with it, no matter what it's been through, no matter what its condition. Some of you may be pregnant, and in that sense, I mean, it's a whole other dimension of adventuring in the body scan. And so each one of us is basically connecting in the deepest of ways with our own body as it is. So when you're ready, let's take a deep, slow, deep, more intentional breath into the knees, feeling whatever's here to be felt, and then letting go of the knees in our mind's eye, and moving into the thighs, the upper legs, and experiencing the whole universe of sensations between the knees and the hips and the groin. On the surface, deep, right down to the femurs, the longest bones in the body, and just experiencing whatever's here to be felt now, however it is with your body. Breathing into it, breathing out from it. And when you're ready on an out breath, just watching as this region of your body dissolves in your mind's eye as we move our attention into the pelvis and bringing awareness to the entirety of the pelvic basin, the hips, the groin, the genitals, the buttocks, the entirety of the bottom of the torso. And here we may even feel the breath in a more vivid way, bottoming out in the pelvic basin. And just resting in awareness of whatever is arising in the form of sensations that may always, as with the body and as with everything, on occasion be pleasant, on occasion be unpleasant, high degree of discomfort sometimes we experience in the body. And often we don't notice it at all, so it's neither pleasant nor unpleasant. And in this moment, just resting in the pelvic basin with full awareness as we find it, as it is. And then on and out breath here too, just letting it go, letting it be. As we move now into the region of the lower back and the belly, so we'll just come up through the entire thickness of the torso and just experiencing the lower back and the belly and the entirety of your abdomen and the sides and all of the organ systems that are housed here in the lower torso below the diaphragm. and just breathing with whatever sensations are here, or lack of sensation, or dullness, and resting in awareness, riding on the waves of each in-breath and out-breath. Letting the breath just do itself, except for those deeper breaths right before we leave this region. So this is the center of gravity of your body, and martial artists and opera singers and musicians who play wind instruments develop a tremendous intimacy with this region of the body, because so much energy can make its way out of this region of the body when we cultivate that kind of intimacy with what our lower torso, our abdomen, and lower back are capable of when working together. And so when you're ready, here too, breathing in a little bit more intentionally and deeply, and feeling the abdomen expand, the belly just balloon out in all directions, not just towards the front. And let it reach its maximum. And maybe just resting here for a moment with the in-breath at its maximum. And then on and upward, just letting it go. As we let go of this region of the body and move into the region of the upper back and the rib cage, the upper torso, everything above the diaphragm, including the shoulder blades and back hanging off the rib cage, and the musculature of the chest and the breasts, the collarbones, right up to the shoulders. And just embracing the entirety of your upper torso, the chest and upper back in full awareness. And listening, attending very, very carefully. Maybe you can even feel the heart beating. But simply feeling whatever it is that you do feel. Any and all sensations from wherever in this region of the rib cage, housing the heart and the lungs and the great vessels, including the way the rib cage itself expands on the in-breath and contracts a little on each out-breath. And then when you're ready here too, let's take a slow, deep, more intentional breath in now and really fill up the lungs and fill up the rib cage. Let it become as big as it wants to be, not just in front, but in the sides and in back. And when you're ready, slowly letting it just wash out. And as we do that, let's bring our attention into our hands and fingers. And feeling the tips of the thumbs and the thumbs, and the tips of the fingers and the fingers, and the spaces in between the fingers and thumbs. Again, any and all sensations. And noticing if the sensations in the hands are a little bit more vivid, perhaps, than the sensations in your belly or the small of your back. Because the nerve endings in the hands, the sensory nerve endings, are like extremely numerous for obvious reasons. So we can touch the world and be touched by the world through our hands in ways that have very high sensitivity. So feeling what's here to be felt in the fingers and thumbs, and then also the palms of the hands and the backs of the hands and the wrists. And maybe here too in the wrists, picking up on the pulsations in the radial arteries directly from the heartbeats, and allowing our awareness to expand out into the forearms, the elbows, the upper arms, the armpits, and once again, the shoulders. And just embracing the entirety of both arms in awareness and the beauty of your hands, the miracle of your hands, such as they are. And when you're ready, let's take a slow, deep, more intentional breath in, right down into the arms and all the way out to the tips of the fingers and thumbs, right through the hands and wrists and forearms. And then on an out breath, just once again, letting go of both hands, both arms, shoulders. Resting, resting, resting in awareness. And then bringing our attention into the region of the neck and the cervical vertebrae, holding up the head and the whole of the neck, including the larynx, the voice box, the trachea and the esophagus that descend through the neck, and just breathing with whatever sensations are here to be felt in this region. Often have a lot of stress and tension in the neck and the neck muscles. We're not trying to get rid of anything, but to just experience whatever it is that we're here, that's here, that we're feeling. And also to marvel at the fact that we can actually move air across the voice box, across the larynx from the lungs. And as I'm doing right now with my mouth and my tongue, moving the air across the larynx in ways that actually create speech, along with the tongue and the lips and the mouth. I mean, that is surely totally miraculous. And so holding the entirety of your neck in awareness at the moment, any and all sensations. And when you're ready, letting go here too. Just letting the neck be as it is. And we've moved now all the way from the bottoms of the feet and also from the fingers and thumbs and the arms all the way up to the head. And so let's bring awareness to the entirety of the head for a moment. Sitting here, lying here. And let's begin by focusing in on the jaw, the lower jaw and the chin, and just picking up on whatever sensations or lack of sensations are available for us to recognize, experience. and feeling any and all sensations in the lower jaw. And then in the lips. And here too, enormous number of sensory nerve endings in the lips, as well as in the mouth and the tongue. Experiencing whatever sensations are here in the mouth, the roof of the mouth, all the way back into the throat. And then the region above the upper lip and below the nose. And maybe feeling the air moving in and out of the nostrils. And experiencing the nose. And whatever smells or aromas might be available at the present moment. Including maybe if you're in the northern hemisphere, a sort of sense of spring being in the air that we're breathing in. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, maybe a sense of fall being in the air, as we say. And if you're in the equatorial region, then just the however it is with the air, depending on the time of day. And just letting our awareness expand around the nose to include the cheeks and the eyes. If your eyes are closed, the eyelids being closed and the eyebrows and the temples. Experiencing any and all sensations in this region of the face. And then let's also include the sense of hearing. As we've seen at other moments, like we don't shut down our ears, so sounds are always coming to our ears. Can we receive them now? Whatever they are, however subtle, however challenging. And now including as well the forehead and the entirety of the face. If your eyes are open, then experiencing whatever you're experiencing coming through the sense of sight. And then let's let the awareness just include the entirety of the top of our head and the back of our head, the whole of the head and the face as it is. Holding it all in awareness and all of the various sensations that are associated with the head itself and the face, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, the lips, touching. And just breathing with the entirety of your head and face in this moment, feeling whatever's here to be felt, and maybe sensing your original and unique beauty that's always here, never not present. Your face at home with itself in this moment, to whatever degree that might be the case for you. when we stop thinking and judging and criticizing and just feel what's here to be felt and know what's here to be known in awareness. At home in our bodies. Fully alive in this moment. And to whatever degree possible, fully awake in this moment. With, for now, no place to go, nothing to do, and nothing to attain. Now, if you care to, you can just, on an out breath, let go of the entirety of your face and head. And rest in awareness, allowing the body to be exactly as it is. Experiencing awareness exactly as it is. And noticing perhaps that your awareness is on a scale that is completely beyond the body. That the awareness itself, as we sit here or lie here, may be observing that there is no limit to it. There's no boundary to it. Like we have a boundary to the body, the sense of the envelope of the skin. And there's no center to it either. Our awareness is everywhere. Including in the body. And so when you're ready, you might want to try wiggling your toes and maybe your fingers and maybe taking a few deep breaths in and out, more intentional breaths in and out. Maybe beginning to move your hands and wiggle your feet and flap your feet and stretch a little bit in whatever directions you care to. And again, in the spirit of the meditation practice, just keeping up a seamless continuity and awareness so that in a sense, there's no end to this meditation. We've been inhabiting the field of awareness in the body from the very beginning, and we're still here in the body and in awareness. Of course, an occupational hazard of the body scan, as many of you know, from having been through an MBSR program, is that although the whole idea of all meditation practices, including the body scan, is to fall awake, so to speak, it's an occupational hazard that in the body scan, especially lying down in the corpse pose, especially if you're doing it in bed, we'll fall asleep. But with practice, we can really train ourselves to fall awake. And that's one of the things I'm encouraging you to do from the moment you wake up in the morning. And maybe not doing a full body scan like this, but just putting your attention in your hands, breathing with them for a few minutes, and then putting your attention in your feet and breathing with them. And do it as playfully as possible. You could try left hand and left foot, right hand and right foot, and just remind yourself that when you wake up and you get out of bed, you have the option to be fully awake, fully embodied, mindful, aware. And then you can carry that into the bathroom. If you take a shower, as you know, I like to say, check and see if you're in the shower, because a lot of time you may not be in the shower. You may be, your mind may be off anywhere else, but not feeling the water on the skin, or planning your day, or lost in thought. So we will, of course, be continuing these next week. We'll say maybe a little bit more about the whole housekeeping aspect of these daily meditation gatherings in our mitigation retreat during this time of Corona pandemic. But for now, and I'm feeling the richness of it in extraordinary ways, loving the conversations when people get to say hello and ask questions, and I attempt to respond in whatever ways that I can. So we're going to now move into that for the rest of our time, and then we'll say some things at the end about tuning in on Monday, and wishing you, of course, a good weekend. So Soren, over to you.
So Natalia, you want to say hello, where you're calling from, and question? I believe you're unmuted. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. I'm calling from La Lucila del Mar, Argentina.
Oh.
And, it's a little town by the sea. And well, I have two questions. The first one has something to do with the practice of today. I was willing to know if the language in which the meditation is guided has something to do with some kind of state of hypnosis, some kind of hypnotic state, because I practice in Spanish, which is my mother tongue, and
Yeah.
I cannot feel that way. And maybe when I'm guided by you, I feel like, wow, this is hypnotic. I am partly awake and partly asleep, but in a conscious way. So that was my first question.
Okay, well, no, my intention is not to hypnotize you at all, because hypnosis is a kind of a state of, in some sense, suspension of mindfulness. I'm trying to use language to encourage you to wake up into every aspect of your cellular body, so to speak, and the direct experience of every sensation or no sensation. So it's like, but so anybody who's guiding a body scan can intentionally use the voice in such a way to not have it sound intellectual or conceptual, but to kind of just a direct guidance so that the person who's receiving it feels like they're really doing it themselves. They're really experiencing their body from the inside, their mind from the inside, their breath from the inside, on their own. But I'm pointing out things in a particular kind of way. And if you find it relaxing, of course, I don't want it to be too relaxing, because if the more relaxing it is, the more likely you are to actually go unconscious. And I want you to be falling awake, if at all possible, rather than falling asleep. That said,
Mhm.
we're so sleep deprived that for many of us, it's a good thing to fall asleep and then do it again sometime when you have had plenty of sleep, and then you want to do it to fall awake again.
Mhm.
Thanks for that
Thank you.
question.
And I have another question. I'm a psychologist and I work with children, with disabled children. And sometimes I try to bring those practice, these mindful practices with them. And the other question was if you have any suggestion for me in that sense, because with some patients it's quite easy to bring them to the awareness of their bodies, which is the most direct
Right.
sensation they have maybe. And with some others like Angelman syndrome and so on, it's more difficult because they feel like really excited sometimes. And
Which
I
syndrome?
find
I
that
missed what you said when you said,
Angelman, it's a
I'm not
syndrome
sure I
in
know
which
that.
they aren't able to move all the body. They are kind of rigid, and they are called the smiling syndrome because they have
I see.
like that.
Yeah.
And well, maybe they are more difficult for me to work with them in this way because they are maybe really excited when you try to calm them. So maybe you
Yeah.
have any suggestions for me?
Well, I think in my experience, the most important thing is your connection with them. So, in a way, if you're really sensitive and mindful, they'll tell you what's good for them and what's not good for them. So rather than imposing some kind of technique or some kind of idea that, oh, this should be good for them, just as you've observed, for some children, they might love this. For other children, that might be the worst thing to do for them. So a lot of it can be, it should all be playful, engaging, not overwhelming, calming, of a particular kind of energy, especially when it's excited, or for kids that need a little bit more energy and engagement, to try to do it always in a respectful way, because kids, even if they seem unreachable, they're living in their own world in a way that really needs to be respected. And when they experience that respect, that's what draws them out into our world in a certain way. Aside from that, I'm not a specialist in that area, so I really can't say more, except to say a lot of people do work with children with somatic and emotional and cognitive problems. And so you can find all sorts of methods on the web of people who are really quite masterful in terms of bringing children with various kinds of psychological or physical challenges to maximize their own capacity for interacting with the kind of world that they don't necessarily feel comfortable in.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
And again, apologies, we can't get to everybody. I've seen Brandon here. I know you've had your hand up for many days now, so welcome.
Hi there. Yeah, I've seen you before.
Feel really grateful to
Where are
be
you
here.
calling from?
San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a question that's kind of been brewing in me the last few weeks since this started. And it's something you've kind of touched on here and there, and I'm going to try to articulate.
Thank you.
Not on this call. Yeah. So I'm finding it incredibly challenging to practice in the domain of world events, and particularly the US president. And I know even like saying that word out in the space probably ripples, and it's something you've mentioned a couple times, and notice the tendency just to go into hatred and blaming. And I read your article about the news and how even all kinds of news can be biased, and people can, even if we agree with them politically, can kind of try to make us feel upset and angry. So I feel I'm trying to bring my full practice to that. But even if I just hear direct video of words that he said or things, that I can't help but feel a lot of anger and despair.
I resonate with you because I watch his daily newscasts,
Yeah.
which is not a healthy diet.
Yeah, I'm not at that level. I can't do that every day.
But I feel like, I mean, there are times that I will shut off the sound and wait for the other people to come on. But I do feel like I need to listen to a lot of it because I want to have my finger on the pulse of what is happening in my own country.
Yeah.
And so I share and really empathize with, you know, the feelings that you're expressing. And yet hatred doesn't do you any good.
Yeah.
Or me any good. It's toxic. What's more, we don't know the entirety of the interior reality. And we never did, historically speaking. So people, the victors always write the history. So we don't even know, looking back, you pick any moment in time, the history was written by the victors and, you know, not by the people who were killed or oppressed or, you know, violated or whatever. So when it comes to what is possible for us humans facing the enormity of the challenges that we face and the need for leadership that really emphasizes wisdom and compassion and some kind of authentic relationship to truth, realizing that even scientists, you know, they don't necessarily have a kind of a monopoly on the truth. And if you take 100 scientists, you'll have 100 different opinions about it, even epidemiologists. So we have to sort of not be absolutist about what we know, but not disregard what the general tendency of the evidence is. And so when we see that, of course, we get angry. And you mentioned hatred. I think underneath all of those emotions like anger and hatred is actually fear.
Yeah.
We live on an ocean of fear.
Yeah.
And it's not just we, the ones who like don't like one side of it, because the people who are on the other side, they're also living on an ocean of fear and they don't like the other side.
Totally.
So then you've got this dualism where everybody is projecting horrible motivations on everybody else. And then it's a blame game. And what I've been suggesting over the past 3 weeks, and I will continue to talk about it, I feel, as long as it is making sense to people and you feel receptive to at least hearing it, is that this pandemic really, I think, provides us with an opportunity to wake up to certain aspects of the way we conduct our lives as nation states that are not working, and that even the capitalist model for progress and for elevating the level of well-being of all people on the planet, well, it's not doing such a great job. And we need to therefore look at these kinds of things, not to make one side the enemy and then go to war with the enemy, because, you know, a lot of times that's like your own family members also feel completely differently from the way you do.
Totally.
But how do we, as a body politic, as cells of the planetary, you know, sort of human domain, optimize well-being and minimize harm for everybody? And pandemics, this is not the first pandemic. It's not going to be the last pandemic. So there are lessons to be learned here. This is not going to be the last economic collapse. There are lessons to be learned here about the people who are the most vulnerable in our society. And we can't abandon them without abandoning our own integrity as human beings. But we do, and then we go unconscious about it, and we don't think about it because maybe we have enough food, or we have a house, or we have shelter. But what about those people that are unhoused and that lost their jobs? That 22 million people in this country alone. And the farmers are plowing food and spilling milk into the earth while people are waiting by the thousands for their families to get food in long lines of cars. So there's obviously something wrong with this picture. And my hope is that we're going to be able to learn from this. And one of the reasons that I do what I do is because I'm so inspired by the community that's just arisen in this one little corner of the internet that we're offering these kinds of practices. And I really feel that this could be Archimedes' fulcrum for, in some sense, bringing mindfulness into the mainstream in such a way that we'll be able to deal with those shadow forces or the forces of darkness that are explicitly and intentionally trying to corrupt people's minds by putting out all sorts of falsehoods, all sorts of misinformation. And there's actually, a lot of evidence that that's being conducted as a war, that different countries are actually warring on each other to try to mess up people's heads about even what to think about the candidates that are up for election. So that's a long-winded response to your, and I hope it's helpful because each one of us has to figure out, well, how much news we can stomach or not, what to do with the fact that Donald Trump has in some way hacked his way into everybody's head on the entire planet.
Totally.
That's a certain kind of genius. I mean, not anybody could do that.
No, yeah.
I mean, not anybody could do that.
Yeah.
There are so many reasons why he should be in jail, but he's not, but all his compatriots are. It's like, so there's some koan that's being offered up to us that it cannot focus on Donald Trump. He's a symptom of something, a malaise, a discontent, a dukkha, an ignorance, a kind of delusional space in which even if we have what we want, we're impoverished. And some of the poorest people on the planet are in some sense simultaneously the most vulnerable, but maybe the most sane because they know what's going on. We don't have to explain injustice to them. We don't have to explain how the laws are all oriented towards the privileged and the wealthy and white people. So this is a gigantic curriculum, and none of us asked for it, but it's been going on for thousands of years, actually, thousands of years.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time, just like with global warming, that we realize what we're doing to the planet and to ourselves and wake up. And mindfulness is, as the Buddha himself said, the direct path to realization. And it can happen in no time. It's not like now you have to meditate for 1,000 years. We don't have 1,000 years. We may not even have 100 years. I don't know if that's inspiring or depressing, Brandon, but
I feel the encouragement. I feel the community of being in it together, and I do hope it is an opportunity for
and we need to both take care of ourselves and extend ourselves, contribute, each in our own way. So it's not like I can tell you what to do, but I can encourage you to listen to your heart and trust it and realize that every moment of now may be bringing a different message. And I'm not just talking to you, Brandon, in San Francisco. I'm talking to everybody in this space because that's where I take my strength from, the fact that we all share in the distributive wholeness and awareness of humanity. So we all have responsibilities, but we also all already have a wisdom that we often don't recognize in ourselves, never mind in each other. And that's where the Sangha element of this comes in. That's where the power of community comes in, just like we're all the cells of the one body politic, just the way you have trillions and tens and hundreds of trillions of cells in your body. And all of them need to be nurtured and get oxygen through the blood supply. That's one of the reasons that I love guiding body scans, because I mean, we could have done this body scan for 3 hours, because when you start to move into the body, even if you've lost regions of the body, even if you're missing an arm and a leg or a breast or a uterus or hips or whatever it is, or legs, the miracle of having a human body in the moment when we're alive is like mind-blowing. And that medicine has a lot of lessons to teach us around how to actually honor the full dimensionality of who we are. And of course, medicine and meditation are linked at the etymological hip. So the meditation in some sense becomes the blood supply, or the vitality of the breath, or what the yogis would call prana, that in some sense puts us in touch with prajna, which is wisdom. And non-dual wisdom, not a us versus them wisdom. And you know, that's a tall order. I mean, but if I don't see what else there is on the horizon aside from that, if we're going to move in the direction of well-being as opposed to profound dystopia.
Thank you, Jon. Very supportive.
Thank you.
Encouraging. Thanks.
So Jon, our time is up for today.
So it is. Wasted another perfectly good hour.
Just to let everybody know, we will send out a new link for next week. As Jon mentioned, we'll go back to the old platform, which has the benefits of us being able to see everybody together on video. It has the negative or the minus of only 1,000 people getting through the door. So you can always come through Zoom, or you can also always come through the YouTube station. So look for an email with that. And anything else, Jon, you want to say before we close?
Yeah, I want to get a little feedback now from you, Soren, and from Jon. How was the video and the audio this time around? Was there any freezing whatsoever?
Not that I noticed.
Very minimal, extreme minimal. It was
Okay, well, I'm glad. Just so you know, Jon Basho, I have the Ethernet and the Wi-Fi on at the same time. So if this has worked, I'm not going to fool with it unless, you know, I'd be a fool to fool with it. So let's just say goodbye, which is, you know, and I'll try to scroll through as many of these thumbnails as possible. I don't know how many you can put up on the screen.
Yeah, let's see.
Soren,
Let's see how I can. Jon Kabat-Zinn, can you unmute everybody? I'm trying to. Don't seem to think I have that.
and have a wonderful weekend, folks. Serve
Yeah,
yourselves.
you
Stay
too.
safe.
Thank you very much. Bye bye. Bye. Bye.
Merci.
Be with
I'm gonna start scrolling in galleries. Whoa.
See you next
Oh.
So great.
Obrigada.
Oh, hi, Alana.
Yes.
Guys, be careful.
Obrigada. Obrigada. Hey there.
Bye bye.
Bisous.
See.
Thank
Wonderful to be.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you. It's amazing.
Hey, another beautiful hour.
Hi, Janet Curry. Nice to see you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. Practice.
Yeah.
Practice. Not
What
hard,
is it?
not easy. Lovingly.
Yeah.
Take care of
See you-
yourself.
do.
See you on Monday.
See you, Monday.
Good night.